Can I just say thank you for coming out, not just for me, but for you, right? Thank you for investing in you today, this morning, because you could have been anywhere on campus. You could have been in the student center hanging out. You could have been doing anything, but you said, you know what? No, I'm going to go and feed me. Not just literally with the good food we got today, right? But feed me, feed my mind, right? Feed your mind, feed your heart, feed you for next level. And so again, thank you for welcoming me here to University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Let me tell you how I'm jumping like right in. I'm telling y'all, I dive deep in, and I'm very interactive, right? And so let me tell you how this opportunity came about. So and catch the nuggets when I share how this opportunity came about, okay? So how many of you have met your president before? Good. I was about to get scared because there wasn't no hands at first. So I met your president at a conference that I went to. And how many of you sometimes know that there's something on campus going on, and instead of getting up and go, you say, I'm too tired, or I don't think I have the right outfit, or I just don't feel like being bothered today, right? How many times have you done that? A lot. Me too. So on this day, I got up, I had planned and saw this event where there were going to be all of these higher education people in one place. And that's my arena. That's where I play at, right? And I said, oh, I need to go to that event. And then I forgot. And then the day of, I was reminded, and I said, oh my God, my hair look a mess. I don't know what I'm gonna put on. And then something said, go. Because if you don't go, you'll miss something. So I got up, got myself together, got dressed, went there, met your president. But let me tell you why. Just meeting her didn't mean anything, right? How many of you forget that follow-up is important? How many of you don't follow up in life a lot? With your professors, with whatever you got going on, you just don't do a lot of following up. So I followed up, sent her an email, right? Because she said from the stage when she was talking, we have an entrepreneurial center at our college on our campus, and we want people to come and share with our students. We want them to know what's possible. We want them to see people who look like them, who know that success is on the other side of them just being willing to take action. And so immediately I went to her and said, oh, well, here's my information, but can you just tell me how to reach you directly so I can share all my information? And this was just last month, probably, right, Kevin? Is it Kevin?
Yes.
This was probably just last month. And I followed up, but what would have happened if I didn't email her? I wouldn't be here today. But I emailed her, and she immediately emailed Kevin and several other people on the email. But here's the deal. I was already preparing ahead of time, and I was already in position. So you have to start preparing in life so that when the opportunities knock, you're ready to walk right through the door. So when she sent that email, Kevin sent back what he needed from me. I sent back what I needed, and we coordinated, we got it together, and here I am today. So I just want to tell you and remind you today that it's not how you start, but surely it's how you finish. And it's the lessons you learn in between time as you're going forward in your journey that's going to make the ultimate decision in who you become. Now, when I was sitting in my college in the same seats you were during college, I wasn't thinking ahead because there's no one that came and said, you got to make sure that everything you do here, it determines what you're going to do when you leave here. I needed that conversation. How many of you, when freshman orientation, see, when I was going to college, I don't want to say how long ago that was, but when I was going to college, they had this saying where freshman orientation, they would say, look around. We would be in this big circle for freshman orientation, and I pray they're not doing this anymore. Look around and look at the people to the left and to the right of it. Somebody won't be here next year. That's the wrong message to portray the student. What they should have said is look to the left and look to the right and find your circle of influence that you can hold and link arms with so that y'all can hold each other up so that when one of you fall, the other one is still standing tall. So that means they won't let you fall. And then more students would have still been left in that circle. And that circle wouldn't have been less clustered 1 or 2 years later. But what happened when they said that, right? I was the one who, whoever was on the left or right of me, didn't see me that next year because I flunked out. But see, what I say is again, not how you start, but how you finish. And so I'm literally a college graduate before you today. I graduated with my undergraduate degree from Bowie State University. Go Bulldogs. I ain't here because I know I'm up at Maryland. So sure, y'all kind of competitive, but go Bulldogs. Uh, and I graduated with my master's from Georgetown University. So that's why I tell you it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. And it's the lessons you learn in between. So I don't discount any of the lessons and the failures that I made because those failures picked me back up. And when I fell, I remember that when I got back up, I was stronger than the first fall. And so some of you are feeling like you're falling and you don't know how to get back up. But I'm reminding you today, or I'm shaking up on the inside, whatever is telling you to remain down, get back up. Because when you get back up, now you're stronger than you were before. So after I graduated from college, I was a high school educator. I taught high school students how to become entrepreneurs, how to run, start, and operate their own small business. There was an organization called NIFTY, Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And I stand before you as a Teacher of the Year certified through NIFTY, okay? So listen, again, put in the work, right? It's how you show up. And so I also am a former college professor of Trinity Washington University. Have you guys ever heard of that school? All girls school in DC, but now they let guys go there too. I taught business classes there at Trinity. But now, what I can most celebrate is that I am 15 years standing strong as an entrepreneur. And you know, what do they say? The first how many years of business most businesses fail? Do anybody know what that number is? You said, what'd you say? 5 to 10. The first 5 to 10, more so 5, right? They say the first 5 years of business, most people go out of business. Well, that's not true, because what did I just say? I'm 15 years in. So if you're willing to do the work, then you will not go out of business. But can I tell you, entrepreneurship is not easy. It's the new going kind of like cliche thing, right? Like everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, right? But it takes work. It takes work. How many of you are aspiring entrepreneurs or want to do some sort of business? Good. Okay. It's not too late. Here's the deal. You don't have to start tomorrow or you don't have to start today as long as you have that vision. But here's what I challenge you. Do you have it written out? Have you declared it, right? And in this program, they help you do just that, right? Are you taking advantage of the resources? Like I literally went across the hall and saw the resources. It's amazing. Do you know how many entrepreneurs are looking for startup funding, but they have no funding to start with? So they're kind of just holding on to their business. 15 years ago, when I started my business, I was a teacher. So my business, most people be like, oh, well, my job, I just want to quit my job. I always say you better be careful about quitting your job as an entrepreneur and you don't have nothing to fall back on because you will be a brokepreneur. Take off the entre, you will be a brokepreneur, okay? And so literally 15 years ago when I started my business, it was literally, I had my job, which was teaching, to fund my business. So my business was part-time. I was a teacher full-time, my business was part-time. My business created, I now own 2 businesses, but my business then created was a business, it was a college planning services for high school students. So I helped students to navigate the college admissions process. We went on college tours, we did counseling, we did programs, we did workshops. But my first time actually launching it, I had no idea why. I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. My students, I told you, I taught them entrepreneurship, right? So they kept saying, well, Miss Robinson, we were doing vision boards. They said, Miss Robinson, if we could tell you on the vision board what your business is, would you be willing to consider it? And then we need extra credit and we need some kind of bonus in class. I said, oh, y'all the negotiators for real. And so they literally came to school that day for their presentation time and told me what my business was. There was like, your business is these seniors coming in our class, monopolizing the time, asking you all kinds of college questions. And you happen to stop class and give them all the answers or looking at their essays and giving them information. And I was like, yeah, no. But then when I paused and thought about it, what I realized was all of those students I was helping were the students who looked and felt just like me when I was in high school, because I didn't have that support. I didn't have my mom and my dad was I was a first generation college student. They didn't go to college. And so I needed that support. So I said, you know what? There's other kids like me who need their support too. And so literally my college planning service is called Suited for Success. I tell people all the time, it's not just a fancy name and a logo. It's a testament of my life. It is me supporting students because I wish someone had supported me when I was in that same seat. And so I do it because I'm passionate about it, because I want to make sure every student who looks like me and looks like anyone else knows that if they dream of going to college and sitting at an institution like University of Maryland Eastern Shore, it can become their reality. Because for some kids, they give up on that dream of it being them having the opportunity to go off to college. Some kids give up on that. And we want to make sure that they don't have to have that opportunity to give up. So literally, I started that business with the kids. You know, they helped me figure out the name, Suited for Success, the whole 9. And so that business birthed. 3 years later into my job, as I'm working my teaching job and I'm doing my business part time, my boss came to school and they were having major cuts in my school district. And I told you I taught entrepreneurship, right? I brought the program to that school. I worked at a performing arts school, if you've ever heard of it, Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I worked at a performing arts school, and I felt and believed that every student who was an artist was also an entrepreneur because you can get paid for your talents, right? And so I brought the program there, and that's the program, and that and other teachers and other departments were getting cut that year. So I literally went overnight from being a part-time entrepreneur to a full-time entrepreneur with no warning. It was just kind of like it happened because I was okay with my teacher job, my teacher salary, and then making, doing my business on the side. But immediately I became a full-time entrepreneur. That's why I said the success of your business is attached to your passion, your belief, your willingness to take action, but most importantly, you showing up and believing in you. If I didn't believe in myself, then what would have happened? My business would have folded and I would have started searching everywhere for other teacher jobs. And so, as an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur, you're going to always have people who say, "Oh, you're going to get a job?" I had to remind people, I got a job. I just work for myself. I don't clock in like you do. I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. And so I had to always remind people of that. And here's another thing as an entrepreneur: your family are not your customers. Your family are not your customers. So don't get discouraged when they don't invest or buy from you. They are not your target. And some of your friends will never be your customers. That doesn't mean they're not your friend. That just means they're not your target market. Okay. And so literally now here I am, I'm a full-time entrepreneur and I'm failing at it because I'm like, I just don't have, this wasn't my plan, right? And so what I know is people make you think that failure is a bad thing. How many of you think that failing is bad? I mean, you feel some kind of way when you fail, right? Here's what I want to encourage you today. Failure is necessary. If you don't fail, how can you get better? If you don't fail, how can you improve? And so I learned to take my failures as lessons. I learned to take lessons from each time I failed to make things better. So the next time I launched, or the next time I promoted, or the next time I spoke, it became better. Because my failures was teaching me that I needed to either get more practice, get more class, take more classes, invest more in myself. Like the world will tell you don't invest in yourself. If you don't invest in you, who else will? You are your first investor. Investor in your mind, because that's where it starts. Because if your mindset is off, everything is off. If you don't believe you're enough, then surely you won't succeed enough. If you don't believe your business idea is an opportunity that could change the world, then it'll never change the world. But if you believe you have an idea, or if you believe you had a product or a service that's going to shift the way things are, then act on it. Put time into it, invest in it, show up here in the lab, show up next door and start implementing things, start marketing your business. Here's what I know: you are not a business owner if don't nobody know about you. You a best kept secret, or you just got an expensive hobby. Everybody on University of Maryland Eastern Shore campus should know that you want your own brand. Here's how they should know it: because you should be wearing it. You should be in here producing stuff so that you can have it on every day. So that when they like it, they can say, "Oh, girl, what's your name?" Sadani. So they can say, "Oh, how can I get that?" Well, where'd you buy that from? You'd be like, "Oh, no, 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 this is my brand." They'd be like, "For real?" You'd be like, "Oh, I can make you one of these, but it's gonna cost." Now they wearing it. So they become your free marketing. Then their friends see it and they like it. Now they want one. So now you got to make more. And so you're making more money and you got the equipment here for free, or whatever you have to do to go over there, right? But to produce your brand already. So if your brand was, I want sweatsuits, or I want sweatshirts or t-shirts, I would be already over there designing and making that. Somebody in this program is the designer if you're not the designer, right? You have the idea, you sketch it out, they design it for you. That's the important part. You should be a billboard to your brand. You should be a billboard to your brand. Everyone should know. You said you wanted to open, yours was the spa, right? You want to open a spa. You should be talking to the ladies. Who else goes to spas but the women? Right? You should be all up in their face asking questions. What would you want in a spa? What type of decor? What things would you want to have in there? What type of experience would you expect to get? Right? Because that's already giving you notes. Here's the deal: the notes are the power. Right? Take the notes now so that when it's time to take action, you already got the due diligence done. Same thing for you, right? Asking some of the young ladies, well, what would you like as an experience? Would you want to come somewhere for the experience, or would you want me to bring the experience to you because maybe you're doing a slumber party for your girlfriends? Should I bring the experience to you and you all get to make some perfume and leave with that, right? It may not be a brick and mortar only. It might be you going and creating experiences at events. So you see how sometimes you have that vision, but see it outside, see it in a bigger vision. See your vision for what it could be completed, not just what it is started now before it even comes to pass. Because you want to be able to scale it, you want to be able to improve it, you want to be able to make sure it can grow, right? And so, and on doing all those things, your people that you believe are your target market are the ones who's going to be able to give you that. So when I did the college tour, the Student for Success birthed with a college tour first. So what I did was take students on a tour because that's what happened for me. Someone took me on a college tour when I was in high school, which was my first glimmer of hope for going to college. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to take other students to college tours because I know that's what gave me that push to now say, okay, you know what? Not only do I desire to go to college, I'm going to college. And so I took kids on the tour. And when we got back, the parents said, okay, now what? I was like, well, look, I just wanted to drop them back off to you. Like, I'm done. We were gone for all these days. Like, I'm giving your kids back. And so literally they were like, well, can you help my kids with all of the part? Because I don't know how to help them because they were first generation parents too, like my parent was. And so I wanted to make sure they'd make the same mistakes that we made in the application process. And so then that's where it birthed with me creating a program where I work with students. I have helped students get over $25 million in scholarships and grants so they can go off to college. I have placed kids at University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I've placed kids at Bowie because that's where my alumni is. I've placed kids all over College Park, Townsend, FAMU, A&T. So the list goes on. But here's the deal. I had to make sure that I was in position, and getting in position meant I had to visit all those colleges. I've been to your campus several times, not just here today to speak. I've walked your campus several times on a college tour myself because I needed to know what I was going to be recommending to my students. And in fact, I bring students here to your campus to see what you are experiencing. And so you have to be able to say in your business, how are you putting things in position? How are you getting yourself prepared for your business? So while I was taking them on a college tour, parents were thinking further. So now I had to come back and think just like them, right? And so here I am 15 years later. I've helped hundreds of kids get through the college process. I speak at multiple schools. I speak at colleges and universities, and I have spoken around the world. Why? Because I believed in me. Are you believing in yourself enough to invest in you? Are you believing in yourself enough to say, you know what, I'm enough? Because some of you guys are like, I got to wait till I get my degree. I got to wait till I finish at college. You really don't. You can finish and still start your business now. You do not have to wait till you get to college to complete your business. You can literally start making money now so that your parents can stop spending so much money out of their pocket and start spending some of your money that now you don't have to pay back in loans, right? Because you borrowed it to go to college to make sure you can fund your education. No, you can now use your money from your entrepreneurship journey to start paying back or paying into some of the things you want to do here on campus or outside of campus. So 10 years, I would say about 8, 9 years. Do you guys keep like a timeline of what you do in life? So I encourage you. I need to go back and actually literally create like this timeline. So you're still young. Start this timeline because you're making great strides. You're doing great things. You're achieving great things. Celebrate each and every one of those things. How often do you celebrate yourself? How often do you give yourself praise because you got an A on an exam? Or do you just get that A on the exam and go to the next class and go to the next grade, go to the next subject, and you didn't even celebrate that you took time to study, your study paid off, and you got an A? Here's the deal. You are not here at University of Maryland Eastern Shore just to survive. You are not here so you can keep going through the motions from semester to semester to semester until you're done. You are here to thrive. You're here to become the greatest version of yourself. And in becoming that, you have to first start celebrating yourself. So every time you go to class and you do good, or the professor give you that extra comment and pat you on the back, appreciate that. Celebrate yourself for that. Go out with your friends for a smoothie or extra drink or something. You know what I mean? A Starbucks drink. Okay, let me make sure I clear that up. Go out with your students and your peers and celebrate, right? It's okay to go to a party on campus. Just make sure you got perspective in order. You're not doing too much partying, right? But you are here to, you are not here to survive. You're here to thrive. You're here to become each day. You should be striving to become greater than you were the day before. Whatever you did yesterday was yesterday. You can't go back and redo that. But what you can do today is do it differently. What you can prepare for tomorrow is to do it even greater. So don't keep focusing on, oh, well, this happened yesterday in class, or I didn't get those notes, or my notes don't, it's gonna, no, no, no. You can't go back to that. But you can call a peer, increase your notes, make sure they're clean, make sure they're straight, right? So what are you doing to position yourself differently each day? That's going to make an impact in who you are. Here's what I know most students don't do. I didn't do it when I was in college. And as a professor, I realized students wasn't doing it. So it was my charge as a professor. I was a professor for 3.5 years. It was my charge as a professor standing in front of that class every day that I went in to teach my students. Your professors have already done what you desire to do. How often do you connect with them? How often do you ask them questions? How often do you ask if you can attend a conference with them so that you can get in spaces and rooms that you never even imagined? So that they can mention your name in places you never imagined. There is power in the ask, but what's happening is no one is telling us we should be asking. So I tell you today, you should be asking. So if you got a professor that's in your department of whatever your major is, ask on the next conference that they're going to, do they have a +1? And if so, can you be that +1? Ask them if you can shadow them to do something that they do within their career field. And then guess what happens? If you impress them outside of the classroom and someone is looking for an intern or someone is looking for someone that has your credentials, who do you think they're going to say first? You, right? You think they're going to say your name first? Yes, yes, yes. They're going to put your name in the room. And then when those jobs come, so see, here's what happens. Most of you, how many are seniors? Any seniors? Senior, juniors? Oh, senior too. Yeah. Juniors? Sophomore? Sophomore. As a senior, have you already, because you're about to end, both of you, what, the end of this semester, or you got to run another semester? This semester. This semester. Do you already have a job lined up?
I do.
Good.
I'm assistant manager
at a boutique.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started as an intern.
See, you said that's exactly where I was going. So I'm happy you said that. Here's what I want to challenge you all, especially my juniors coming right behind my seniors. When you get to college and you get to your senior year and you're ready to walk out of this door, you should not be looking for a job. You should already have a job. And you would if you had already started doing internships from gate. See, they tell you don't have to do an internship till you're in your senior year, right? So all of you, or either the latter part of your junior year. So most of the time we're waiting to do internships until we're about to graduate. You should be starting internships freshman year. And you should be doing them sophomore year, junior year, because guess what? But here's the deal. You can go to an internship, but if you don't show up, and I don't mean just show up to your internship. I mean, if you don't show up, if you don't represent yourself, if you don't stand out amongst all the other interns so that they can remember you, so that when the time comes, they got a job, they can offer it to you, then you're going to be looking for a job at the end of senior year. But that should not be you, because remember I said you're not here at Eastern Shore to survive, you're here to thrive. And so thrive means you're going to set yourself up for success. You're going to get in position, you're going to prepare, you're going to start planning. You're going to start creating opportunities. Opportunities are not given. You create them. I told y'all I created this opportunity. It wasn't given to me. I created it because your professor could have When I reached out to the president and they started looking up in my background, they could have been like, nah, we can't bring her here. She doesn't fit what we were looking for, right? So are you in position so that again, when the door opens, you can walk through? So you have to start setting yourself up. So my boo thing, Cassidy, here with me today. She like my baby. And so I asked Cassidy, I said, well, Cassidy, so we were talking about whether the it's EIC is an acronym, right? CEI had a LinkedIn page. She said, oh, I don't have, she said, I got a LinkedIn page, Aunt Regina, but it ain't nothing on here. I said, what? You need to update that immediately this weekend, right? So how many of you don't have active LinkedIn pages? And I don't mean you, it's active is not you just having a profile picture. That is not active. I mean, have an active LinkedIn page. Okay. So I challenge you, get your LinkedIn page set up. Start networking, right? Well, I'm sure most of you have an active Instagram page, don't you? But is it active for people to come after you for a job? I'm not talking about active where you're showing off. Yeah, that's not the active I meant. I meant a real active page where people are like, oh, okay, you know what? I want to hire her because what do you want to do? Yeah. So see, I think that she would be a perfect person for given this grant because we have this grant of money so that we can put that into that work. What are you doing? Are you showing on your page that you are actually active in the community? Are you showing community service? Right? Because that's what they're going to be looking for. So you got to start positioning yourself for what is it that you desire to do, that you know you want to do, and that you have now framed out your framework for that, right? Because otherwise, are you in position? So when they went to my credentials, they said, okay, she's been speaking here, she's been speaking there, she's worked with education, she's in the arena of that, she's at this college, this university campus. I prepared, I planned, I got in position. So again, when I got invited here today, it wasn't so that I can come give you this fancy little speech. It was coming so I can stir up something in you. So I can get you to start believing more in you than you've ever believed in yourself before. It was so that I can encourage you to know that you are enough. It was so that I can tell you that failure is not a bad thing. It is going to, in fact, take you to the next level. But if you don't start taking action, because they say knowledge is power, right? How many of you heard that? Knowledge is power. Yeah, but it means nothing if you don't do what? Use it. Take action. It's just knowledge. It's just going into your notebook or your journal or wherever it needs to be. But if you have not taken action on the knowledge that you have acquired here at University of Maryland Eastern Shore, what do you plan to do? And not what do you plan to do just for you? Because I didn't get up here and tell you nothing about what I plan to do for me. I got up here and told you about what I did for others and how I served others, right? So what are you going to do with what you've been blessed with here at University of Maryland Eastern Shore? What are you going to do to take that and change the world? How are you going to leave your footprints and your mark in the world? What do you plan to do as you move forward? What's your plan? Because see, you have to have a plan. Because if not, you plan to fail. And do you have the mindset today? Because if not, we're going to shift from here after today. Do you have the mindset today that every day that you get up, you tell yourself, girl or boy, it ain't nothing I can do. You got this. Go out there and change the world. Go out there and be the greatest version of yourself. Or do you get up every day and you just walk out of your dorm room and you walk into your class and you plop down in the seat and you're just there? And the professor's talking, you're not getting nothing. You're just listening, barely. You're there, taking up a seat. You're there. And then when you leave that class, you go from that class to the next class and you're just there. And you count down the days saying, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait till this to be over. Can I tell you, you want to walk in that class, sit up straight, and learn everything you can learn. Everything the professor says won't be for you. But if you're not listening at all, you will miss what was for you. If you're not tuned in, you will miss it. And then you ought to be in class trying to say, what can I get? Because this is going to help me with this. And then now I know I can take this and run. Because it's in the run. But remember, it's your race, your pace. Because see, we get so caught up on what is this person doing? What is that person doing? How are they doing it? Oh, they great on their social media, right? Social media is fake. Can I tell you, it's a highlight reel. How many of you post everything on social media? No, none of you, do you? You don't post everything. How many of you post what you want people to know? Yeah. Like you here right now. That don't mean you post it because you might not want everybody to know you in this workshop, right? You're gonna post what you want to post. Well, guess what? The people you following and the people you're admiring, they're doing the same thing. It's only what you, they only give you what they think they can give you. They only give you what they think is going to make them go viral. And then the rest of it, they're not telling. So while you're looking at them saying, oh, well, they got this and they got that and they doing this and they doing that, you don't know what it took for them to do that. I always tell every person, please don't, I want to encourage you through my story, but please don't envy my journey because my journey was hard. And I had weights that maybe you don't have the capacity to carry. And so it was not me being able to say that I've spoken on stages around the world just because. No, it was me taking time to get to that space. I didn't just walk on a stage in South Africa just because. It took time for me to get to South Africa. 10 years, in fact. I didn't just walk on a stage in New Delhi, India, and they let me speak 10 times. It took time for me to get to New Delhi, India. It took me practicing my craft. It took me investing in me. It took me loving me. It took me believing in me. It took me knowing that every day I got up, I was going to be greater than I was the day before when I went to sleep. It took me saying that, you know what, everything I learned, the knowledge, the power, I'm going to take it and take action with it. And I'm not going to always get it right. But if I'm willing to keep taking a step after a step after a step forward, I don't have to worry about going backwards. Because backwards isn't an option because there's nothing back there. But what I do often do, and I encourage you to do, is glance back just so you can celebrate how far you've come. See, I glanced back at the girl I was freshman year because I told y'all I graduated from Bowie State, right? But I glanced back at that girl freshman year who started at Delaware State, who stood in that circle, who they said, look to your left and look to your right. Somebody won't be here next year, and that somebody was me. But I look back at that girl because I remember going home, going to community college because I failed out, and my mother said, girl, you coming home because I'm not about to pay that tuition full price without no scholarships. Because you know here, if you fell out, you lose your scholarships, right? Period. And so, but I glanced back at that girl and say, you know what? You could have given up then, but you didn't. I went home for a year and went to community college. I came back to Delaware State my second year and I made the dean's list both semesters. So I tell you all the time, it's not how you start, but it's how you finish and it's the lessons you learn in between that's going to determine who you become. And so I stand before you today. I don't want you to say, oh, she's great and she says she's that. No, I'm someone who believed in myself. I'm someone who took action. I'm someone who creates opportunities. I'm someone who says that, you know, every day when I get up, I tell myself, you're amazing. Every day when I get up, I tell myself, we love you. Because there was days I did not. So on those days when you don't love yourself, remind yourself that you are still more than enough. Because there's not going to always be perfect days. As an entrepreneur, it's going to be hard. There's going to be days where you get so low. I say all the time, you're going to get so low. And you're going to be like, how long I'm going to be down here? How long I'm going to be down here before somebody come along and pick me up? See, you waiting for somebody else to come pick you up. I used to be that woman, waiting for someone else that will drop by and lift me back up until one day I said, you know what? If I don't get up, I will never get back up. It's not about somebody else lifting you up. It's about you getting back up. You are believing in yourself enough to say, you know what? You got knocked down this time, but get back up. And when you get back up, remember you're going to be stronger than you were the first time when you got knocked down. You don't have to start from the beginning. You're now starting from where you were and moving forward. See, most of the time we think that if we fail, we got to start over. No, you don't have to start over. If you get a bad grade in the class, you're not starting over. You know you got to study harder for the next exam, right? But it doesn't mean start over, and it doesn't mean give up like, oh, I'm not coming back to Professor Robinson's class no more because I got a bad grade on one of my tests. No, you better come back and see me, ask me how you can do better, what ways could you study differently, and how could you do some extra credit or something that's going to support you in bringing your grade up. How do you see yourself? Is the question I challenge you with today. How do you see you? What do you see when you look in the mirror? What do you see? How do you see you? I'm challenging you. You got to ask yourself, how do I see myself? See, because I told you back then I saw myself and saying, oh my gosh, how am I going to get back up? Well, who's going to come pick me up? And until I decided that I was my warrior, I was my Shira. Okay, we looking outside for everybody else to be our Shira, or we looking on social media for people to be our Shira, or we looking at other people that don't even look like us to be our Shira. No, you here at one of the most prominent historically Black colleges and universities. You have the power here to change not only this campus, but to leave this campus armed to change the world. But if you don't pick I always say, your tools up, which is gaining all the knowledge and wisdom from your classes, from here in this center, from your professors, from the people here on your campus, if you don't connect with them and link arms with them and gain everything you can for them, that's going to determine where you'll be. I always say, they say Jim Rohn is a famous person, and he says a quote, you are the result of the 4 people closest to you. They will tell you how far you're going to go. So you have to determine, what's my circle of influence? Are they pouring into me? Are they encouraging me? Are they supporting me? Or are they the ones saying, girl, we can skip class today? Well, boy, we don't got to go. Let's go to the gym and work out. When you know you got a test, when you know you have something important to do, or when you know there's a seminar on campus that you could benefit from, but you don't want to walk in the seminar for everybody else to see you, and you don't want to look like you the smart one. You better stop being okay with looking like you the dumb one. Now that's crazy, right? Or that you want to fit in with the dumb crew. That's a no-no. You don't walk in there with your head held high, get those contacts, get those connections, and do what? Follow up. So that you can make the connections you need for your next level. So you can tap into what resources are out there. You guys get a lot of people who visit this campus. I saw the board. It was full of pictures of people who have come here. I hope that each and every one of those presenters gave you something that you can use that will arm you for your next, or that will prepare you for where you're going, or that will give you something that you can say, okay, you know what? Now I got exactly what I need. Whether it's encouragement, whether it's the resources, whether it's the tools, whether it's mentorship, whatever it is, you got something, because that wall is full of people who came here, took time, and poured into you. Took time and gave you what you needed. How many of you know that since you've been here at Eastern Shore, that you have a story? When I say a story, meaning your experience, that you have encountered over these 4 years, that you know you can tell and encourage another Eastern Shore student that's behind you. My 2 seniors, right? How often have you opened your mouth and shared with a freshman, a sophomore, or a junior to encourage them to do things different than you've done it? Awesome. Awesome. And that's what we should do. And that's what you should continue to do. Right? And then the juniors, you should be paying it back down as well. You should be talking to the sophomores and the freshmen. Because can I tell you, when those freshmen hit this campus, they were just like you were the day you hit this campus for the first time. Confused, scared, kind of like, oh my gosh, is it going to be like it was? Because you know, when I left high school, all my teachers told me high school and college is not going to be like high school, right? How many of you heard that? How many of you? Yep, because I was a high school teacher. I told y'all, that's what we told y'all. High school will not, college will not be like high school. And so they're afraid, they're scared, they're trying to figure it out. But you only wish probably somebody had told you something when you got to the campus, right? You felt that way. So why wouldn't you not go back and tell someone else, like, you know what? They could just be in the student center looking like they down. I encourage you to always be that student that says, you good? Don't just ask them if they're good just to be asking them if they're good either. You good? And wait for their answer. When they say yes or no, if they say yes, ask them again. 9 times out of 10, remember I said we share what we want to share so that we can hide, because we've all become great at hiding, right? And so just ask them, you good? Ask them the second time, you good? They say yes, you'd be like, all right, well, if you're ever not good and you see me on campus, I'm good, we can talk, right? Offer yourself to that person. Can I tell you, 9 times out of 10, somebody is not good. And you could be the difference in them being here tomorrow or them not, because you were willing to speak up, because you were willing to just take time to just ask, are you good? See, an entrepreneur is bigger than you just owning your own business. It's how are you serving? How are you giving back? What are you doing to empower those who are looking to you? Whether it's because you're giving, you either offering a product, you're offering a service, you're offering something. And remember, your story is always valuable. Your story is always necessary. I used to run and hide from the fact that I went to college, flunked out, didn't graduate. And then I said, well, wait a minute. Do you know how many other students are struggling? That they just need to hear that story. And when I would tell my students who went through my program, I used to be like, you know what? Miss Robinson did X, Y, and Z. And we would get through and they'd be like, oh my God, Miss Robinson, I'm so happy you actually shared that with us. That first time of one student saying that, I said, you know what? I'll no longer keep that a secret again. Because you most of the time think, so I didn't want to walk in here and make you think that an entrepreneur is easy. It was 15 years, but it was not an easy 15 years. There was years I felt like giving up. There was years I didn't make any money. Now I'm a six-figure business. That didn't come overnight, right? Thank you. That didn't come overnight. I stand before you and I've published 3 of my own books. I'm in 5 books with other people, and I've helped over 15 women write and publish their own book because I also own a publishing company. I've traveled the world. I told you I spoke in New Delhi, India, South Africa. I speak at women's conferences, churches, and organizations, and I speak at colleges and universities. I tell people, students all the time, you can Google me. I'm good. Some people are scared to be Googled. No, I tell them, Google me, find out what you want to know. And then ask me anything else you want to know because I'm willing and I want to be able to serve you and help you. Right? So I didn't want to come here today and make you think like entrepreneurship was easy. But I wanted you to understand that it is something that is amazing if you do it right. And it is something that you can use to change the world. If you step into it, you own it, you believe it, and most importantly, you stay steadfast in it. It's doable. It is completely doable. But you got to believe in yourself. You got to trust yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to support yourself, and you got to invest in you. Because no one else is coming to save you but you. And no one else is keeping you from greatness but you. You have to ask yourself, am I keeping myself from my next level? Because for some of us, it is us keeping ourselves from going to the next level. And so you have to get out of your own way so that you can move forward. So that understanding that when you fail, because it's inevitable, it's all throughout life, from now until the time you take your last breath, failure is there. You have to be willing to step into it and keep moving and learn from it and keep going. Never be willing to give up on you. I tell students all the time, never, ever give up on you. It should never be an option. It should never be something you think about or consider. And if you do, remind yourself in that moment that you are more than enough. And remind yourself that everything that you've gone through, somebody else is going through, and you're the courage for them to take their next step. You're the belief that they can journey through it. For some of you, for the 2 seniors, you're hoping this room for the juniors and the sophomores that they're going to get to that point too. Because you did. So your hope for them. And that's why I say share your story, because I'm sure it wasn't easy. I'm sure you had those financial aid issues. I'm sure you had those class issues, some of those professor issues, right? But you can tell them how you navigated that. So now they have the tools to be able to navigate it as well, because you're their hope that they're going to get out of here in 4 years, and they're not just here to survive, but they're going to thrive. And so to my 2 seniors, I encourage you, whatever you move forward doing from this day forward, as you get ready to graduate in another couple of weeks, probably, the world is huge. It's open to you. Embrace it. Run after it. Keep knocking on doors. And when the doors don't open, just bust them down. Get to whatever it is you desire, because you deserve it. You've worked hard for it, and it's yours. Nothing, nothing, nothing is impossible. It's only impossible if you're not willing to try. And so go after all your dreams, all your desires. Keep dreaming. To my juniors, to my sophomores, keep dreaming. Dream bigger than you can ever dream before. Can I tell you, I never dreamed of being on stages, ever. That was never my dream. I never dreamed of writing books. I never even dreamed of traveling the world. But God will always dream bigger for you than you will ever dream for yourself. So keep dreaming, keep believing, keep honoring yourself, keep respecting yourself, and watch the world show up for you because you were willing to show up for yourself.